Hi, my name is Debbie Boggs, and I'm doing a video blog for Sherwood Pictures because I just really feel like I need to give my testimony. I actually wrote Alex Kendrick's about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I love to write scripts. I don't know how good I am, but I love to do it. It's definitely a passion that the Lord has truly given me, and he wrote me back probably about 3 months later, and he had told me that they were unable to accept anything just for legal reasons, and that was understandable. And I've really been praying to the Lord about it because I just feel like it's so inspiring that one day he had a passion and desire and wanted to do movies. But my testimony, I feel, is very powerful. I'm a single mother, and I've had my little girl. She's 8 years old. When I was 20 years old when I found out I was pregnant with her, and it was a hard time in my life. I had dated her father for about 5 years, but my childhood really wasn't the easiest. My mother, at the age of 9, my mom was in a car accident and was left quadriplegic. It was a hit-and-run accident. So our family definitely had to endure a lot, which, as a teenager, it definitely made me completely rebellious. Didn't really listen to my parents, chasing boys, but I did have one steady boyfriend, but we ended up breaking up. He ended up getting addicted to drugs, and after I found out, I broke up with him, and a couple of months later I had found out that I was pregnant. So it was a really hard time in my life because I knew that I cared for the guy, I loved him, but there was just so many things that that we were going to have to overcome that was almost like unbearable. And so when I found out that I was pregnant, the first thing is to call and talk to him and tell him, and the first reaction was, well, it's not mine, and you're going to have an abortion. And so, I think we both toiled with it, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, I had been through so much. I wasn't saved, didn't know the Lord, I was just a miserable person in general. And, a couple of months had gone by, and, he was just really wanting me to get an abortion. And, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to be miserable. I didn't want to be a single mother the rest of my life. But God was really working on me then. Of course, now I can say that, but then I felt like, what was going on with me? What's happening? And I finally made the decision, that we were going to go, and he had given me money. He said that, and one thing I remember saying is that I never wanted to be awake if I were to have an abortion. And so the day came, and my sister, and she wasn't a born-again Christian at that point either, but she did know him a lot more than I did at that point. And her daughter's first birthday was coming up. It was the day before, so she was in labor the day that I was, the year previous, she was in labor the day that we went to get an abortion, or that I was supposed to go and get an abortion. And anyways, that morning came, and we went, and it was up in Detroit. We went to one of the abortion clinics, and there was people outside, and I can just remember going in there and just seeing all these people and these women, and it was really eerie and just cold, and you just couldn't help but look around and say, and just wonder, what are these people thinking? And it was like normal to them, not even a tear, nothing, just cold. And so they ended up calling me back to the back of the room, and they did an ultrasound to see how large the baby was. And I just remember being like, how did I ever get to this point, and why am I here? I just remember thinking, what has gotten me here? And I'll never forget it. The lady left the room, and I had like a couple minutes to sit there, and I was just, I can still remember the holes in the ceiling, because I remember just staring up at the ceiling. And at that point in my life, I didn't know the Lord. When my mom got in her accident, it was so difficult because there were nights where she would say, why God, me? Why And I remember being like 12 years old, and I'm like, I don't want to know God if that's what he does, I remember just being mortified. And but at the same time, I just knew that he was real. I just had that feeling. And I remember laying down, and I remember looking up at the ceiling, at the walls, and I said, okay, God, if you're real, I need you to help me get out of this one, because I can't do this on my own. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. I remember going out to the waiting room, and they wanted you to wait a couple more minutes. And I remember going out in the waiting room, just sitting there with my sister, and they called me back, and I'm sitting, and I'm like, why am I not going into a room? I was just sitting where they take care of you or whatever with your insurance, and they said, well, the weirdest thing happened. They said, we just got a phone call, and the anesthesiologist just got sick in his car, and he's not going to be able to come in today. And he said, well, do you want us to reschedule your appointment? And I said, I'm good. And I remember literally just about running out of the clinic. And my sister's right behind me, and of course I'm worried I'm going to get shot, because these people are crazy outside that are with their little signs and everything. And I go out there, and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, we're not doing it. Let's just go. And so this lady came up to me, and she gave me a card, and she was from a church, and so I took the card, and we got in the car, and we went to the gas station, and I just said, I told my sister what had happened, that, that this guy got sick or whatever, and so she went in to the gas station, and I remember looking up and saying, you've got my attention. And I just knew from that point that was it. I made my decision. I wasn't doing it. And it was hard, because I think I still had toiled with it, and I just knew at that point that I wasn't gonna. And I just remember making that decision, and I just said, this is it, I'm having this baby. I'm gonna do it on my own. I don't need anybody. I don't care. And because I just knew. And it was weird, because people would say, oh, well, it's a forgivable thing. And I thought, you know what, it may be forgivable, but it's not for me, because I know in my heart of hearts that it's wrong, and I don't want to live with that the rest of my life. And time went on, and I tried to work it out with her dad, and we dated for a long time. We even got engaged for about a year. And about a year after I had my daughter, I had been going throughout my pregnancy to church here and there, and I was raised Lutheran, but I never really went. But I started going to Church of God, and about the third Sunday, it started clicking with me. And I remember going out one night, and I got just completely intoxicated. And I just never wanted to be that kind of mom where I wouldn't, come get my kid and have other people watching them. And I was probably about 21 at that point. I was probably, a little over 21. And I remember going out, getting intoxicated. My sister couldn't find me, and I ended up going to a friend's house, and I was just sleeping it all off. And I remember coming home, and it was kind of like when I, at the abortion clinic, it was kind of like that. I was laying on my couch, and I was pretty much still hungover, and my sister dropped off my daughter, and then she went to church, and I had my niece with me as well, and she was probably about 10 or 11, and I swear, it was a God thing. I swear in my spirit, I just heard him say, get up. You got to get up, and you got to go. And it's just so powerful, because I was in the middle of just literally dying spiritually. And I got up, and I brushed my hair, and I got my car, and I almost puked on the way to church. And unfortunately, that's where I was at. And I got to church, and the sermon was for me. And we have this older lady, we call her Grandma Vida, and it was family day. And she must have known. I swear Vida knows everything, because I came out of the bathroom, and I just knew, but I was still kind of toiling with it. And she came over to me, wouldn't let me leave. I had to stay.